So this is a disaster that has been sent in. And you know what, man? Disaster is the only way to describe this. This player... oh, Jesus. Where do we begin? Okay. This player was going for a diplomatic victory. And you know what? They're kind of nowhere near on track for that at all. It's turn 270 and they only have 12 diplomatic victory points. That's not good. That's really... that's not where you want to be with that. First problem with that is... you don't have enough culture to win a diplomacy victory. Diplomacy victory is partially a culture victory. You need a certain amount of culture per turn to get up to these late game cards over here. This player does not have that. So culture victory, or diplomacy victory, is just instantaneously off the cards. There's no universe in which we pull off a diplomacy victory here. Just looking at the state of the game, we don't have enough science, we don't have enough culture. We damn sure don't have enough industrial zones, because industrial zones... So there's three things you need when you're going for a diplomacy victory. I'll have to do a tutorial on diplomacy victories at some point. You need to get industrial zones, you need to get campuses, and you need to get theater squares. This player has some of that, but very little. Very little. He has an awful lot of aerodromes, which I don't understand because, you know, you only have one source of aluminum, which means you can only support 2 airplanes, so I don't know why you would need this many aerodromes, but okay. Also, this player recently betrayed China, presumably because China is really, really close to winning a culture victory. Yeah, that's bad because it triggered a betrayal emergency and now he's literally at war with the entire world. So we've probably got about 7 turns, right, before we can get peace with most people? Yeah, 8 turns. 8 turns before we can get peace with most people. So that's really, really bad. So your better move to prevent your better move to prevent the culture victory would have just been getting a cultural alliance with Chandragupta, and the reason for that is, if we look in here, Chandragupta is the person that China is trying to beat. So we get a cultural alliance with Chandragupta. We send him all of our trade routes so that he gets a ton of culture per turn, which prevents China from winning the game because as Chandragupta's culture increases, the amount of tourists that China needs increases, thereby buying us time. But that's not the end of the problems. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through every single city and cancel what you're building, because in almost every city you're building like the most useless thing that you could possibly be building right now, with the exception of flood barriers, which in fact you should have been focusing on exclusively building flood barriers, and every single fiber of your being should be repairing flood barriers. Because if we take a look at the settlement map, almost every district in your empire is about to die. Like no, I really mean that. Like, there's so many tiles that are about to flood that we just don't have the time to mess around with this, and we just absolutely need to get flood barriers done yesterday. In fact, you've probably had these unlocked for a very long time and you just, for whatever reason, didn't build them. Also, don't do the train athletes thing. It doesn't matter. This isn't going to help you win the game. You're not in a position to win anyway. we just got to stabilize first. And that's going to involve getting all the flood barriers. Now, this city can build the flood barriers by itself, which is fine. In fact, I could probably... Yeah, no, that's fine. So, right, where do I begin? So we've got a whole bunch of problems, right? Almost all of them relating to flood barriers. The other problem is you're at war with everyone. Now, you do actually happen to have something that's really important, and that is a encampment that you can build military engineers. This is really, really important when you catch yourself in a position like this where you've got extremely expensive flood barriers that you can't afford to build and your entire empire is starting to flood. We've got about 4 turns. We've got about 4 turns before we start losing these white tiles. So we are going to lose a lot of these tiles. We just have to accept that. Some of these tiles are going to go. But basically our entire economy, in terms of gold and production from this perspective, has to go into producing military engineers to send out to complete these flood barriers to prevent like all of this infrastructure that we've invested heavily into just straight up disappearing off the map. Those aren't the only problems you've got. Like, you've got a whole bunch of civs pushing for a science victory. It's likely that Germany will be the one who wins the science victory. Now, you do have one ally in Germany who we are instantaneously going to try to call into the war with China so that they can help us out with that. This diplomatic favor is pointless. Don't worry about it anymore. There's no way you're winning a diplomacy victory. You don't need that favor. Let me just be very, very clear with you. You are not winning a diplomacy victory this game. So moving forward, what are our goals? Our goals are to build as many of these flood barriers before the tiles flood. This is like part of the stabilization phase, right? We've got to stabilize the empire. We've got to flood, or prevent flooding. We have to get at peace with everyone but China. Then we have to get an alliance with Chandragupta, preferably a cultural alliance, and then send every single trade route we have to Chandragupta in order to boost his culture per turn to buy time in order to kill China. Then we need to build an air force. We have one bomber over here. We're also, I don't know why you're researching this particular technology. I don't see how this technology helps you at all. It seems like you were going for some sort of nuclear play, although if you actually check the strategic resource map, you type in uranium, you have 0 uranium anywhere near your empire, and there's absolutely no way you're ever going to build a nuclear weapon. Like, I looked around and I did a search. There is no uranium here. You will not. This is a mistake. What you should be going for is jet bombers, because you do have aluminum and you can use jet bombers to impact the outcome of the game. Yeah, these research labs, they're not going to help you. Why are you building a research lab when you don't have your tier 3 government building? Also, why are you in democracy? Democracy is great, but you can't win a diplomacy victory. This is not helping you. What we really need to be doing is, ideally, we need to be picking up totalitarianism and conservation so that we can get more of an air force. Because every copy of aluminum will be multiplied thanks to this, and it'll also allow us to build a military much more effectively. Okay, so that is the change. We've basically cancelled every piece of production that is pointless. You've also got a huge problem, because I did play a few turns just to kind of test things out. Basically, every AI in the game has spies in your empire producing partisans out of your neighborhoods. That's really bad, and it's not going well for you, and you're not dealing with it well. So we're going to have to build some military units to try and hold that off. And those military units are going to come in the form of machine gunners, because we just can't afford anything that actually takes a strategic resource right now. The exception of this city over here, which is, I would like to build a bomber. I should really purchase the bomber, but I need to spend my money on the military engineers. I have enough money to justify this. The bomber will help defend against the onslaught of units that are likely on our way. Fine, I will purchase the bomber. I think purchasing the bomber is the right move here, even though I want all of my resources to be going towards military engineers. We're in hardcore triage mode right now. So we just need as many, like, simple combat units to try and hold off this onslaught that's coming our way. Also, seaport, the seaport, it's going to take you 3 turns, but it's going to murder your entire city. So we just need flood barriers. We need flood barriers. That's what we need. Yeah, don't do this. Don't do this thing. This is really awful. Never ever send an unescorted settler with like multi-turn moves plugged in. You want to move them 1 turn at a time. Move them 1 turn at a time, and the reason you do that is because your settler was about to path into a barbarian unit and get just straight up murdered. My god, there's just so many units everywhere. What have you done? How do you get into this kind of a position? You need to bring all of your spies home. I don't know why you're spying on Germany. Sure, it seems like a good idea, but realistically, your spies should be in China, trying to do as much damage to their economy as possible, stealing every great work you can, stealing all of their money. That is the only move right now, because China is #1 threat, and so we need to send all of our spies to their biggest cities. I think you're actually missing spies too, which is a mistake. Like, this city right here, you weren't building your flood barrier. You're literally about to lose an arena and a zoo, and an entire entertainment complex. And, like, that is so much production that is just going to disappear from your empire because you didn't do the thing that you needed to do, which is get these things online. In fact, you're losing an incredible... We need to do triage, right? So trying to figure out where's the best place to put these engineers. And unfortunately, you're just going to straight up lose tiles down here, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're going to even lose the aqueduct here, which is extremely painful. Whatever, I'll get my military engineer over here into that city, and we shall purchase ourselves another one. Military alliance with Germany, because he's at war with China as well, which means we get a little bit of combat strength on all of our units, which will be helpful. Good God. I walked, by the way, I just want to say, I walked these military engineers from over here to here. This entire area is just filled with nuclear submarines. Like, oh God. Like, look at the military power of each of these. Like, how do you only have 200? Okay. All right, let's not be too critical of this poor player who set me in this game. Oh my God. I genuinely have never seen a game this bad. I actually don't know if I can save this. Especially because it's so late in the game. If this was like turn 220, a game is salvageable at turn 220. But turn 278, that's... Oof. I mean, look at this culture per turn. He's only a few turns from winning. He's getting about 3 per turn, so we need to get that. We need to get that alliance with Chandragupta like yesterday. Well, we've only got 4 turns to wait until we can get peace with him at least. Also, don't be spying on Germany. Spy on China. You need to do as much economic damage to China as humanly possible. For example, stealing great works is a great way to hurt their... Like, it's a very small thing. Steal a great work, but it is a non-zero amount of impact. You need to take every piece of edge that you can get and push that as far as possible. All right, so we managed to use a military engineer in here to save Chukutio. I'm still going to need to get one more charge in there because the flood is coming in 3 turns and I don't trust that counter, so I need to get that finished ASAP. Oh, these other ones are going to finish pretty quick. This guy needs to get up into Machu ASAP. Machu needs triage yesterday. Machu's already lost a tile. Yeah, like I said, I didn't trust this next flood level in 3 turns. My ass just lost a ton of tiles, which is really, really bad. In fact, to the point where building the flood barrier in here doesn't actually do anything anymore, does it? Yeah, flood barrier is pointless in this city now, so we won't even bother finishing that. Just a constant chain of military engineers pumping out here trying to save tiles. Oh god, I lost tiles in my capital too. And these were locked in tiles. Oh god. Your population is absolutely massive, by the way, but you're not doing anything useful with it. It's a mistake. There's no need to have this much, like, I mean, see, it would make sense if you actually had districts that these cities were taking advantage of. Like, if you had a theater square and an industrial zone in here, I would have no problems, but you don't have that, so I have a problem. Okay, so enough turns have passed that we can start getting peace deals. These are going to be very, very expensive peace deals because we have no army and they have large armies, and they're going to be basically like, yeah, well, pay us. So, like, if I look at a peace deal here, it's going to cost me 48 gold. All right, we're going to try to trade him whatever we have that he does not have that might make him more amenable to peace. So, aluminum, gypsum. Diplomatic favor is a great one to give away since we don't actually need it. I actually don't need to give him that much. We'll give him like 50 diplo favor. Now you can see here we get a much more favorable peace deal in terms of gold because we need our gold. Our gold is the only way we're going to realistically produce an army this game. We need to do this with every single person who's going to also demand about 50 gold. So just keep that in mind that, you know, this is bad. Right, so we have peace with every single person but China. Now what we need to do is we need to go through and talk to every single person that we can and get open borders with them to try and improve our relations with them. And then also send them a gift of about 12 diplomatic favor, which I think is about how much you need to give in order to max out the relation boost from giving someone a gift. We need to get into good diplomatic standing with every single civ in the game so that we can try to turn as many of them as possible against China. So yeah, about 12 favor will give you plus 10 favorable trade deals. I think if you just give 10, it doesn't quite hit the same number, right? It's only a plus 8. Yeah, it's only a plus 6 if you give them so much. So it kind of depends. So I'll give these guys another 6. Just talking to every single civ. You can also give them 10 gold per turn, which does just roughly the same trick. Because some of them don't value diplomatic favor as highly as others. And usually if you give them 20, it'll max it out. So I'm giving them all like 12 diplo favor each, but like if I were to give her 10 gold per turn, you can see it max that out because that's what the AI bases that friendship on. And that's why I was trying to be careful about preserving my gold because we're sending an awful lot of gold to the AI for just relationships essentially. And hopefully next turn, a bunch of them will switch to neutral, and then the turn after, once we do establish embassy and all that sort of stuff, some of them will switch to friendly. We got to also find every single one of them that is not allied or friendly with China who might be willing to declare war. So, for example, Wilhelmina might be willing to declare war on China. We have 186 gold. Let's see if we can wait till she's a little bit friendlier with me, and maybe she'll do that for cheaper. Basically, everyone else is allied to China, though, which makes my life very, very difficult. So we're at war with no one except for China, so I'm going to rebase towards China in that direction so I can help Germany with air support until I can get my own aircraft carriers and stuff and get my own units in that direction. We just want to disrupt as many things as we can. We want to blow up their industrial zones. We want to blow up their spaceports. We want to essentially try to make sure that they're spending their production on anything except for winning the game. And you can see we're down to the wire. We're only a few turns away from winning, so we need this alliance with Chandragupta like yesterday. Also, unfortunately, Pingala got neutralized, which is really crappy because that was a huge percentage of our science and culture, and now we just don't have that. Okay, so a lot of really important things have just happened this turn. We picked up totalitarianism, which means we can plug in fascism as our government type, which means we can start producing units much more effectively. I'm going to get rid of every single card so we can kind of plot out our government here. Science and production are very, very important to us. In terms of military policy cards, we really want the International Waters card. This is going to let us produce a navy to actually fight China. We also want the third alternative so that our research lab, military academies, and power plants will provide us with culture and gold. We're also going to plug in Grand Army, although we're probably going to need to get the upgraded version of that card. And then for now, we'll plug in force modernization so that we can upgrade our units much more cheaply. In terms of other things that we're going to plug in, we do need lots of gold right now. Gold is our most important yield, so we're going to be plugging in free market and then also economic union so that we can maximize our gold income. We're up to 400 gold per turn. We're also stealing a bunch of gold and stuff like that. That's like a #1 priority, and now we'll be able to repair this campus and actually keep value. This is value that we invested into a long, long time ago, getting completely wiped out. Not only that, but this turn also, everyone has become friendly towards us, with the exception of her. So let's go ahead and make sure that we send resident embassy, we declare friendship, we do everything that we need to do to keep the relation with these people as high as possible. And, Chandragupta won't take an alliance. Why is that? Please, Chandragupta, why won't you be my friend? In my test run, I was able to get you to be my friend. No, why won't you be my friend? What has changed? I've done almost nothing different. I killed less of your army. That's the only thing that's different. I thought that would make you like me more. I guess it didn't. It made him hate me more. Right. Noted, noted, noted. Also, you should totally have at least one envoy in each of these city-states for the +4 faith, right? It's a single envoy for +2 faith per turn for the rest of the game. Probably not worth it doing it at this point, but if you'd met them at any point earlier than this, it would have been worth it, because that's like a little bit of extra faith that you might be able to, you know, purchase a great person or do something with. See, look at this, right? See this pathing? This unit's going to try to walk over land to this city, which it absolutely cannot. Just for whatever reason, it seems to believe that that is actually a path it can take, which it super cannot. And it really, really bothers me when the units do that. Oh my god, they're pillaging everything that I own. Please stop. Stop pillaging my stuff. I really needed to not be that way. Alright, thankfully, he's being helpful. Will you please be my ally? Why won't you be my ally? Also, if we take a moment here to look at the food surplus in here, we absolutely do not need this many farms in this city. We can very, very easily cut out like a couple of these farms from mines, especially the ones that don't have very good production, like this one right here. We don't need that much food. We can put a mine here and optimize for a little bit of production. Same sort of thing over here in this city. If I had a builder, I would. We don't need. You do not need a +43 growth surplus, like ever. Don't do this. It's not good. Okay, the capital has been saved, although wasn't really. It's a little bit too late to really save everything in the capital. But we have the flood barrier finished, and we won't have any more issues, even though all the tiles that mattered have already flooded. And the only one left now to save is Antawalia. That's the only one that has any tiles that are worth saving. So I'll have to get whatever remaining military engineers over there. I think I will finish just one more military engineer and then go towards building a bunch of trade routes to trade with India, because please, for the love of God, be my friend so that I can get an alliance with you. Oh, like, again, you don't have your monuments built. It's 60 production for 2 culture per turn. That return on investment is incredible, dude. Always get your monuments. It's such a waste to not. I'm really sure this India guy is looking to declare war on me, which is why he won't accept my friendship, which is really, really bothersome, because he's literally causing us to lose the game. Although his culture has actually skyrocketed, so he should be able to defend himself. So now China isn't the #1 threat. Still need to kill him. We could probably piece China out, actually. Pivot to a science victory. You know what? Since Chandragupta has stabilized his culture without my interference, I think we actually can pivot to a science victory, which is a really weird move, but genuinely believe that it's the best one. There's no way in hell we're winning a diplomacy victory. This is just not happening. And there's no way we're grinding through a war with China without nukes. So I think we pivot to science right now, and we can win the game before China wins a culture and before anyone else wins a science victory. Now, in order to facilitate that pivot, we are going to have to move Reina to the capital so that we can purchase the spaceport, and then we're going to put you, Pingala, in the second biggest city that we have, so we can get a huge boost to our science and culture. That means the majority of our army is going to be defensive in nature, which means we should have our aircraft positioned centrally to be able to defend. We have units stationed all over the place. Alright, hard pivot to science then. That is going to involve a lot of trade routes in the capital. In fact, it's also going to involve getting peace with China. Although I should stay at war with China, actually, so that we can keep pulling people into that war to minimize the number of people who will be getting bonuses for China. Oh my god, why are you so angry about going to war for me? God damn you. But yeah, if we stay at war with China, he will get less tourism pressure against us because he won't be able to trade with us. And like, here's the thing. It's not like you didn't make military engineers. You've got forts. you knew about military engineers. You just didn't use them to prevent the flooding, and like as a result of that, we just lost so much because of those floods. I don't know if I'm going to be able to save this city. It's 5 turns, and I need to get another one of these guys over here. Yeah, it's going to be close. So we need e-commerce if we're going to go for a science victory. That's going to give us a ton of production in our capital. We need to start moving every single trade route that we can into the capital. Once Reina is established, we'll purchase a spaceport there. Since we're not going to be trading externally, we need to get rid of Vissel banking, and then we need to plug in containment so that we can get control of a city-state like Zanzibar. That would give us a bunch of amenities. Alright, so we plugged in containment, we got control of Zanzibar. Now, this is going to be weird, but we're going to switch to communism because we've decided instead of going to war to try and dig out of this hole, we're going to try and space race our way out of this problem. So we've got a similar problem to what I talked about earlier on. This city has way too much food and not enough production. Like, where's your production coming from in this city? You know what I mean? You need to handle that. Like, for example, this farm right here is actually doing nothing for you. It's giving you +1 food. The flatland farms don't tessellate with the non-flatland farms. So this should not be a farm. This should be a lumber mill or literally anything else. It should be anything else. I know I'm getting into like really nitty-gritty criticisms, but like that's where things are going wrong, is these small little optimization problems are having huge compounding impacts on just how long it takes you to produce anything. Now, since we're going to be feeding the capital with a ton of internal trade routes, what we're going to do is we're going to try to take every single available tile and then put a production improvement on every single available tile instead of what we currently have, which is why I'm building a builder. It's also why I'm probably going to be purchasing more builders and stuff like that to do that. Alright, there it is. India declared war on me. Killed my battleship. God damn it. Alright. So this is why he wouldn't take a friendship with me, because he was planning to go to war with me, which makes total sense. It's unfortunate, but I'm going to have to fight another war. Shouldn't be too hard. We have a much stronger military than we did at the start of the other war. But we're going to run into a lot of pillaging problems. Alright, just killing off a bunch of these units. Get out of here. Downside is they're probably going to pillage a ton of my trade routes because I'm doing internal trade routes. Ooh, Chandra Gupta betrayed Pachacuti. I will add that proposal right there. And I'll add the Cleopatra proposal as well. I have nothing else to do with my diplomatic favor because there's no way, like I said, there's no way we're winning a diplomacy victory here. Let's just face the facts, face the music. Here's another city that's drastically overfed without an aqueduct to make these into productive tiles. You could easily cut like 3 of these farms for mines and still be equally as well fed. In fact, I would cut this one and this one at the very least and consider putting a lumber mill on this cattle tile. So this city's going to want a builder. No, like it's really, really late into the game to be doing this sort of stuff, but still, you should always be looking for an opportunity to do that. So if you remember, this tile was 2 food, 1 production. We could put a solar farm on here to make it 2 production, 1 gold, but instead we're going to put a lumber mill on this tile to make it a 1 food, 4 production tile, which is far better than any other tile that you could have put here than the farm that you put. These little optimizations, I know it seems like very nitpicky, but these little optimizations do have an impact. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to prevent the flood in here, which is really, really crap. God damn it. I was really hoping that I could prevent the flood. Well, we got here too late. We saved the majority of the tiles in our empire, though. So that was a good bit of stabilization. It took us a hell of a long time to get that underway, though. And this is why we have the machine gunners, so they can shoot these guys as they walk through our empire. They don't do a lot of damage, but every little chunk of damage matters. Don't forget, every time it's your enemy's war readiness is based on how many combats they have in your territory. I'll vote this up once to see if anyone else wants to go to war with Chandra Gupta. Seems like people are probably going to be a little bit less willing. Yeah, they were less willing to go. This is fairly straightforward, just like killing unit stuff right now. Most of these guys should die without too much trouble. Like so. We've got another unit down here that we need to deal with, but again, city bombards should take care of that. Reina is now fully established and we can purchase ourselves a spaceport. I'm going to put the spaceport beside this theater square because it allows me to defend it with more spies. Then we're going to immediately get to work on the Earth satellite. In fact, this city should have already built the Royal Society, so I'm going to skip the Archaeological Museum. I'm going to cancel that. We need the Royal Society done as fast as possible. In fact, the fact that this city has such crap production makes me upset. I'm going to take these mountains to give it a little bit more. Does that shaves 2 turns off that? Maybe if I put the lumber mill down, that'll shave another turn, so we're down to 13 turns in the Royal Society. Excellent. That's going to be important. Now I need to get a few of my spies back here to get into a triangle formation to defend this. I'm also going to need units standing on it to protect it from being pillaged. Oh hey, a submarine that I found that I can subsequently shoot with my battleship. And again, because we're feeding this city using trade routes, we're just going to get rid of all the hill farms and just plop down as many mines as possible. I know these are incredible tiles and they look really nice, but we need production, not food. Okay, we actually did manage to save the tiles over here. Let's get the seaport and a builder. This city is basically useless. We're kind of just ignoring it, to be honest. There's only a handful of cities that actually matter right now to me. There is class struggle. This is going to take care of some of our production problems. I should have had someone in position. Now we're switching government again. We have to clear all this out and then start retooling for the right win condition. So right now I don't think we need too much science, but I will plug in rationalism and I will also plug in economic union and free market because the gold income has been really, really nice. I'll plug in 5-year plan as well. In terms of military policy, just take forced modernization. I don't think that actually matters, does it? No, I don't think it does. We'll take Machiavellianism so we can build our spies faster. I'd like to plug in triangular trade. I guess I don't really need a 5-year plan because you don't really have a whole lot of industrial zones, so that's not really worth much. I'll take logistics. I will take resource management so we can sustain another aircraft. I'll take levy en masse just for the little bit of gold. So we're in a normal era, which is far from ideal. Probably going to be running into loyalty issues in some of these cities, which is to be expected. But now Cusco actually has a decent amount of production, 81 production per turn. It's getting this launch Earth satellite done in a reasonable amount of time. We're going to need to further push that in the right direction. Also, we're still at war. It's not good. There's so much that went wrong here. I don't even know where to begin. But we are getting a ton of era score from killing these things. Oh, I forgot to plug in the builder card. That's a huge mistake. Well, we'll just use the civic switching exploit by clicking on a civic you've already completed and then force ending the turn, and then you'll be able to change your government the next turn. All right, since we did the government change exploit, I'm going to plug out triangular trade can go. We need better builders because the amount of build charges that are in your builders dictates how much extra production you get when you insert a builder into a spaceport. I need to get a unit standing on this tile. They're trying to take my capital even though they're allied with me. It's kind of silly, actually. Holy crap, we just got like the best spy for defense ever. Now, the siphon funds is pointless, but he has quartermaster and polygraph. So all my spies operate at 1 level plus and all enemy spies operate at 1 level minus if I have him in my capital. I will be moving, or in my territory, I'll be moving him here to defend the spaceport. Oh, sweet Jesus Christ. A nuclear missile was just launched against Germany by China. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm just glad that wasn't against me. Yeah, that's a problem. Now, hopefully, that has made China public enemy number 1. Wilhelmina, why won't you go to war with China, damn you? Oh, she's much more willing to join the war against China now that China has started to use nuclear weapons. 25 gold per turn. Beautiful, beautiful. China just sealed its own death warrant by throwing that nuke around willy-nilly. Yeah, but it's kind of terrifying to think that China has those nukes. I would really like to not be nuked, especially since a single nuke could basically eradicate all of my chances to win the game. I'm going to use this aircraft carrier to try to scout out where the hell I'm getting shot from on this guy. And now you can see the faith actually came in handy because I'm going to be able to purchase Carl Sagan here and finish one of these projects nice and quick. I also have Sergei Korolev on the way over here to finish this project too. Oh, I would like everyone to have the same amount of nukes that China has. Why, yes, please do that. Oh, no. This is bad. Oh, God, everyone has nukes now. What did I do? Oh, what have I done? I've got 3 nuclear bombs. Why would I do that? Wait, why would I do that when Changchun is on my border with nuclear submarines? I'm an idiot. I thought I was being funny. Like, oh, yeah, I want everyone to have nukes. By the way, there's a guy on your border who has nukes that you don't want to have nukes. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Whoops. Oops. My bad. Oh, the problem is my capital has taken huge war weariness. All right, China, can we peace? You want 1,000 gold. You know what? I'll pay your 1,000 gold, okay? Just get out of my face. I don't know why, but every time I recruit a unit, they start with a promotion. Like, every unit starts with a promotion. I don't know if you have, like, some crazy mod enabled, like, play your custom maps. You had this mod enabled, and I don't know what it's doing, but every time I recruit a unit, it has a promotion, and I don't know what's doing that. I heard a nuke. I heard a nuke. Where is it? Wait, China wants to be friends? No. But I definitely... Oh, Amsterdam got hit. Why did I give the AI nukes? What is wrong with me? Chandragupta, please give me peace. Please give me peace, dude. I don't want to be at war with you anymore. Alright, Chandragupta doesn't want peace, which is a problem. It's a very big problem. We're also losing a ton of gold right now. Partially from weapons of mass destruction, partially from all these really awful trade deals that I was forced to make to get peace. I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna have to sell Diplo favor or something to try and get back into the black in terms of economics. Oh, but Amsterdam just got nuked again. Germany, what are you doing? Why? This is so overkill. It's completely unnecessary to double nuke a city. The city was already nuked. Why? Germany, you need to relax, dude. It's completely unnecessary. This is the most overkill, like, in-your-face, get effed I've ever seen the AI do. He triple nuked Amsterdam for no good reason. Alright, the capital is up to 80 production. We're losing 30, though, due to this negative amenities, because I'm caught in this war. I need to get out of war. I need to get out of the war. It's painful. It's painful. But we've laid down a whole ton of production in this city. And we're doing a really, really good job finishing this off. I really, really need this Royal Society to finish. But things are looking okay. I'm not currently worried about too much in terms of, you know, whether or not we're going to win the game. I'm pretty confident we have a chance. I'm pretty confident we have a chance to win. Okay, hangar has been completed in here. We're going to start working exclusively campus research grants so that we can get a little bit of extra science to find where the exoplanet expedition is. We're on track to finish the moon landing in 13 turns. I'm about to finish the Royal Society as well. Once I finish the moon landing, I'm going to use Carl Sagan to instantaneously finish the Mars launch. That is only and only if I've already unlocked where these other techs are. And actually, luckily, we have a pretty shitty... This could either be amazing or really, really bad. Because if the speeding up of the exoplanet expedition is all the way over here, this is going to be a very slow and tedious game. Alright, amazingly, Royal Society is finished. Also, this city is now at minus 60% from amenities, which is starting to get ridiculous. Good God, I want peace so bad. Jesus Christ, I've never seen it this bad. This is awful. I need it to not be this way. I need it to be anything but this. Truffles, silver, chocolate, tobacco, 20 gold. Will that help? Spent 20 gold per turn for a whole bunch of different luxuries. And it did. It got us back up to 90. It got us back up to just minus 4 amenities. So we're making 96 production per turn now. That is a much, much better situation to be in. Let's start plugging in builders in here now that we finished the Royal Society. We can get this done in a reasonable amount of turns. Oh shit, I used a build charge on you. I can't put you in there. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. You have to be very careful about that. About which builders you use build charges on. Well, I guess now you're basically just mine fodder. Go make mines over here in this city. We'll take the space initiative as well on Pingala to speed this up a little bit. My God, everywhere I look, a new unit appears to cause me an issue. There's just so many nuclear submarines. The AI loves nuclear submarines, by the way, and it gets old very, very quickly. It gets very, very old very, very quickly. Okay, we've got a nuclear emergency that might be able to pass against China. That would be a big deal. If we could get some people, if we could get a few people to go to war with him, that would cut down the amount of tourists he's getting per turn and buy me all the time that I need to win. A lot of what's going on here is really just plugging in builders into this spaceport and hoping against hope that no one else wins in time. Like, that's just how bad this game is. I'll put one vote into getting the aid request, but I'll put everything else into trying to get China And I'll try to block the Germany one, but I want everyone to declare war on China. If I could please, for the love of God, get everyone to declare war on China. It was literally just me and Germany, and then everyone else declared war on Germany. Oh, Jesus Christ. However, we can't peace out India. That's a big deal. We peaced out India, right? We're done. We're no longer at war with India. We don't have to do anything. It's all good. That's a huge load off my mind. Now my trade routes won't be getting pillaged every other turn. Although the worrying thing is now I'm at war with China, who is the one civ who likes to use his nukes willy-nilly. Although he did choose to nuke Germany rather than me last time. So maybe that's not too bad of a thing. Alright, there's the moon landing. That was a hell of a long-ass time to get that launched. But that's the boost to the space race, which is pretty damn good. Also, my city now has -9 amenities. It is only getting worse for some reason. All my luxury resources are no longer being fed into here. I'm getting pillaged constantly by, like, I don't know what's pillaging me in here, but like something is pillaging my land, and it's getting very, very obnoxious and very, very old. Okay, but we have not discovered where the exoplanet expedition is, so we're just going to probably hard build the Mars colony for at least a few turns and keep inserting builders in until we know where that is. I could use Carl Sagan right now, but that wouldn't actually speed up the game. Oh, because I declared war on China, I lost access to all those luxuries. Damn it. Egypt might have some of those ones that I can grab. 15 gold per turn for 3 luxuries that I might not have is a good deal. Similarly, Tamar has 3 luxuries that I might not have access to. Ooh, I can get my hands on some cosmetics, which is pretty damn nice, considering I don't think anyone else can get them now, since there's only 2 copies in the entire world. Okay, listen up. I got so many luxuries there. Alright, we're back up to 100 production per turn, which brings the Mars colony down to a 13 turn build time, rather than the horrifying 31 turns. So I can accept that. I can take that. Also, big problem. Tamar is on the final stretch of the space race victory, so I'm going to have to start moving all my spies over to find her spaceports. In particular, what I want to do, this is a great little trick you can do, is if you look around, you can see here, is that pillaged? I can't tell. But what you want to look for is when you're looking for the spaceport, if you look for the one that, it's kind of harder when you don't have vision, but you want to look for the one that actually has like a rocket inside it, and that'll usually tell you which one she is actually doing the project in, and it looks like it might be this one over here. I'm trying to find a good example of an empty spaceport so you can kind of see the difference. Yeah, like here's an empty spaceport, right? It's under construction. Damn it. Maybe Aminator is a better example. So you can see here is an empty spaceport. Oh wait, no, this isn't the empty spaceport. This is the one that she's actually building the thing in. You can see here, see the rocket, see the way the things are open, and there's a rocket moving out towards the thing. It's kind of hard to describe, but basically, if you look around through the map, you can tell the difference between an empty spaceport and one that's actually doing the job. I'm trying to find a good example of this. I really want you guys to understand this. Okay, here's a spaceport, right? We know for a fact that India is working on the satellite launching the moon landing, and here's a spaceport with no extra graphics. And that's because the actual spaceport they're doing the project is over here in Nagasagarmu, right? You can see here, this spaceport actually has a rocket on the platform graphically, and you can usually see this in the Fog of War as well. This is actually a pretty bad example because I can see this, but you can see this in the Fog of War. Anyway, I need to head my spies, like I was saying, I need to move my spies over to Georgia and start pillaging all of her spaceports to keep her from being able to win the game. And I can actually see here, this is the, oh my god, how did I miss this? I can actually see that it's Tbilisi that she's launching the exoplanet expedition, so I need to keep this spaceport pillaged constantly to delay that so that I can catch up. Alright, we got really, really unlucky. Unfortunately, it is not this technology that unlocks the exoplanet expedition, so we're going to keep doing the launching of the Mars colony. The slow way. We will of course keep putting builders into the project because we do want it to finish at least in a reasonable amount of time. Alright, we've got an 84% chance to disrupt this space project. It's a very, very small chance. I've sent more spies over here. If she gets this launched, that sets the timer, and then we're in really, 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 really bad shape, and we definitely won't be able to win the game. So this is pretty much what the ability of me to win this game is hinging on whether or not I can get this spaceport pillaged right now. And then if any other ones pop up, I don't know. Alright, nice. Now we have e-commerce and we can plug that in. I think it's time economic union went the way of the dodo. It's not giving me enough stuff. But e-commerce will now catapult my capital up into 120 plus production. If we can get the amenities up in here, we'll suffer even less of a problem and have even more production. I also specifically built a campus down here. Right now, every ounce of science that we can squeeze out of our territory is a big deal. That's why I'm running all these campus research grants, every single territory, because we need to figure out where in this tech tree the exoplanet expedition is. I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of these techs here, and then we're going to have to try to make our way over to here. So this is going to be, it's going to be a slow win. Let me tell you that much. Where did these come from? What in the name of Christ is going on? Where did these giant death robots come from? Oh my god, that is way too many giant death robots. What am I gonna do? I'm pretty sure they're immune to nuclear weapons. Where are my aircraft? Oh god. Oh no, never mind. They don't have enough uranium, so they're incredibly weak to the what you call them, to the bombers. Never mind. No, this is fine. This is fine. This is totally fine. We're good, man. We're fine. Look at this. These are like so weak. You don't have any uranium, dude. Get out of here. All right, just to give you an idea of what I'm doing right now to win the game, I have every single city that has a campus pumping out campus research grants so that my science is up to 500 per turn, which is a pretty respectable amount of science. In fact, it's the second biggest science per turn in the game. Well, no, third biggest, but it's pretty damn close to being the most science in the game, right? I'm making a lot of science. I am also heavily trying to delay Tamar from finishing the exoplanet expedition. I am building the Mars colony in my capital. In fact, I'm literally about to finish it next turn, the same turn that I finished Seasteads. I have Carl Sagan in the bank, ready to finish the exoplanet expedition. In 2 turns, I believe, 3 turns, this rocket port, this spaceport will be disrupted, delaying Georgia's win, which will buy me enough time to be able to get the win condition myself. Originally, I had planned to feed culture to Chandragupta. It looks like he managed to just get enough culture himself to be able to prevent China from winning the game too quickly. So we're up against it, but I think we can do this. Why are there more giant death robots? They just walked in. Like they're nothing. How many of these did you build, China? All right, anyway, so there's the Mars colony launched. We finished Seasteads. We stole a whole ton of gold. Okay, there's smart materials. Oh my god, we need to research so many technologies. I should really be doing tech stealing as well if I can. Feck. Yeah, let's steal tech boosts from Georgia if we can. Oh my god, I didn't know we didn't have a research lab at the capital. That's so much science we've missed out on. Alright, quickly. Campus research grants is the only thing that matters right now. And I'm not doing campus research grants in this city because this city doesn't actually have a campus and it would take way too long to build a campus, and I don't want to move Reina over there to purchase a campus. So they're producing builders to be fed into the spaceport to complete the exoplanet expedition faster. I'll probably be using, I will almost certainly be using Carl Sagan to instantaneously finish the exoplanet expedition. I have 2 spies defending my spaceport. We're in good shape. We can potentially win this game, which is not something that I thought I would be saying 2 hours ago when I started playing. But yeah, these giant death robots, they're actually not that much of a problem because they're kind of like super weak for some reason. I think it has something to do with the fact that they have no uranium. I am, however, going to need to, deploy fighters in that direction. It might be worth a rebase over to this city so that I can hold off these giant death robots. You walked giant death robots all the way from your empire over here. Not just like 5 of them or 6 of them. How many have they walked over now? I think I've killed 4 and there's 1 here, so that'd be 5. Good God. We did it. We delayed them. Okay, delaying the spaceport is gargantuan. I'm also going to neutralize the governor in here, and we're going to gain sources as well for 6 turns so that I can see where else they might be building any spaceport related stuff. But my god, that is so huge. I think that guarantees us the win. I'm still not sure though. It could really go either way because even if I get this completed in a single turn, I have to get all the way to this technology right here to actually be able to win the game in a reasonable number of turns. Exoplanet expedition unlocked. Huge. Okay, huge. I don't think I can really accurately describe how big of a deal that is. Why did I unlock cultural heritage? Oh yeah, right, because I need to get to the late game stuff. Alright, so what we're going to do in here is we are going to swing straight down to the bottom. We're going to plug in Exoplanet Expedition, instantaneously use Carl Sagan to finish that in a single turn. So now the countdown timer for us winning the game has started, but we're not out of the woods yet, because Tamar is still competing and she has a lot more spaceports than me. So I need to delay as much as I can. I need to do damage to her. I need to get like tech boosts. I need to get everything I can to try and get up to off-world mission as fast as possible. I've got so many techs to research. If all else fails, we'll win in 50 turns, which is a hell of a long time considering it took me 2 hours to get through about 40 turns. The good news is we did get a tech steal for off-world mission, which will save us a couple of turns of research. Normally this would take a turn or two extra. If we could get one more tech steal in the meantime, then we would be in amazing shape. Looks like Chandragupta is also working on the exoplanet expedition, so I kind of wish I still had a spy over in his territory to defeat him. I think we're just going to have to rely on the fact that we're going to pump hard to try to win the game and hope that that carries us through. Oh, this time the Chinese giant death robot actually has a decent amount of combat strength. Let's see if a bomber will take care of him again, and it looks like it will. Awesome. All right, so that was a handy little number there. Imagine that, like, you've had so many giant death robots thrown at you that they become a trivial thing to deal with. All right, that's really, really, really bad. Chandragupta has finished the exoplanet expedition, and his thing is already traveling at 1 light year per turn. I think I'm ahead of him very slightly by 3 light years, but that just means the pressure is on to get to off-world mission, and it's going to take me another 10 turns to get there. It's going to be tight, especially if he already has it unlocked and can start speeding up his exoplanet expedition already. My goodness, more giant death robots just rolling in across the plains like a herd of cattle. Well, you know what? They're pretty easy to deal with at the current stage of my empire's development, so I'm not complaining that I have to deal with them. At least I'm not complaining as much as I should maybe have to, because they completely lack the strategic resource to make them useful. So now that Chandragupta is my public enemy number 1, I'm going to see if I can find some more of his spaceports and look to pillage them. If I can keep some of his spaceports suppressed, he won't be able to speed up his exoplanet expedition as fast as I will. Every time a nuclear submarine attacks, dude, the nuke launching noise plays, and like I just pucker up a little bit, and I'm terrified that I'm just going to see a nuke drop on my capital city at some point. The good news is Egypt lost their friendship or alliance with me, so all of their units kind of went away. The bad news is Egypt lost their alliance with me, so all their units went away, and maybe she will want to declare war on me, please, friendship? Okay. She friendshiped me. Thank goodness. The one time in my life I'm glad a woman put me in the friend zone. I am going to say that there are no tourism from great works of writing. I will vote to take away diplomacy points from China, and I will vote to prohibit chops of rainforest. Okay, I've got a spaceport pillaging project going on here. I've got another one going on against Chandragupta, India, over here. If I could just keep these spaceports suppressed. He's only going 1 light year per turn, so I have a little bit of sliver here. So I think we can pull this off. There's predictive systems, and not only that, but I think we finally managed to survive the betrayal emergency. We get a bunch of diplomatic favor, and we don't get as much war weariness anymore. Which, actually, now that we've been at peace for a long-ass time, I think my capital shouldn't be having too many problems. But that means we've played about 60 turns to get to this point where we can win the game. I am just going to go ahead and finish this off, though, because I feel quite proud of myself for recovering from the absolutely horrific position that the player who made this game put me in. And I also have an absolutely huge pile of builders ready to start feeding into this spaceport. I was also kind of tempted to maybe save up money and purchase a spaceport in this city and use even more builders to finish these projects faster, but I think we'll be fine with the way that we're going to do it. I don't think I've ever been in a game where almost every single great person is gone. I don't think I've ever played a game to turn 330 in my life. Usually my games end somewhere at least before turn 290. Wait, what? Nuke noise? Okay, no, it was just it was just another nuclear submarine attacking. I swear to God, whenever they attack, it sounds like a nuke going off, and it's terrifying every single time. Like, listen. Can you hear that? There's no need for the nuclear launch noise to happen every time. Cybernetics is finished 3 turns until we get off-world mission, and then we can start pumping up our light speed so that we can win the game a little bit sooner. Alright, we got ourselves another giant death robot strolling in for an attack. See if we can't get him dealt with. Almost got him. He's on his last legs. I'll use a bomber to finish him off. These bombers have incredibly long range because I have the range promotion on them. They can basically touch almost any tile in my empire from this position. Tamar has also finished the exoplanet expedition, but I'm pretty sure with the launching of the Lagrange laser station and the terrestrial laser station, I'll be in a perfect position to win this game. Now that we have off-world mission, what we got to do is we got to go into our capital, we got to cancel this, we got to plug in 2 Lagrange laser stations, and then immediately start feeding builders into our capital spaceport, and that'll get this finished. It'll shave a turn off of each one, and then once we finish those, it'll speed up our light year speed. Let's see. All right, everyone else is still going 1 light year, so I'm pretty confident. We are in a golden era. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I will take that giant death robot, please. Now I've got my own giant death robot, and I could just like, this is kind of a cheeky thing. I could just delete it if I wanted the ability to build nuclear bombs, but I'm not going to. I'm going to walk it towards China, and maybe I'll get a couple of unit kills from it. Feed another builder in, bring that down to 1 turn, and then we'll be doubling the rate at which we're winning the game. Right now, we're set to win in about 35 turns. We'll half that to about 16, 17 turns, and then when we finish another one, we'll take 50% off that again. No! I didn't have a unit standing on my spaceport. Now Georgia is standing a giant death robot on my spaceport. Oh, thank God. It went away. Okay, very, very important. You always have a unit standing on your spaceport, so the AI can't troll you by standing on it. Also, have a city with Liang in near your spaceport, because the number of build charges that your builders have dictates how much they contribute towards the project when you use them on the project, on the spaceport. Also, have as many spies defending as possible. Now, which city does this belong to? So you want to have your spaceport beside as many like districts as you can, and then you want to have a spy defending each and every single one of the districts that you can in order to keep it as safe as possible, so you have multiple overlapping spy defenses. Nice. So I spent a bit of time pillaging spaceports all throughout these empires. They're still repairing their spaceport. This spaceport is down. They probably have more, but I'm not worried at this point. Now that I'm traveling 2 light years per turn, I'm like 99% confident that I'm going to win this game. There is the 3rd light year per turn. We are now traveling at 3 light years per turn with 30 light years to go. So that's a 10-turn clock on our win condition. Let's get another terrestrial laser station going as well. That'll help speed it up just a smidge. We might shave another 2 to 3 turns off our win condition. And there is another terrestrial laser station bringing us up to 4 light years per turn. That means we're 3 turns from winning. I don't think there's any point in building another one because it would take us 4 total turns to build it. I mean, maybe we could get it in 2, but it won't actually speed it up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to shift and enter until we win the game, because it's pretty much in the bag now. Sorry, did I say 3 more turns? I meant like 6 more turns. My bad. I misread this number as 38, not as 28. So I guess we will actually spend a bit more time improving the rate at which we win the game. All right, so this time the city is powered, and we are now traveling at the appropriate 5 light years per turn, which means we should be donezo in 2 turns. So we'll just shift enter, shift enter. 45 out of 50 light years. I can't remember. Do you win when the number goes up? Do you have to end the turn again? I always forget that. I think we just win now, right? Yep, there it is.
Much as our ancestors did ages ago.
In fairness to the person who sent this to me, they were trying to go for a diplomatic victory, but it was turn 280 something by the time they sent me the save, and there was no way in hell you were winning a diplomatic victory against civs that were on track to win science victories against China, who was pumping out the culture. We were actually very, very fortunate that Chandragupta started pumping out the culture. In fact, I kind of want to see the culture per turn here is going to be very telling if we look at Chandragupta. Yeah, look at that, right? This is around about when I want to say we took over the game around here. The fact that his culture climbed up so high is one of the only reasons why we were able to win this game. Chandragupta basically saved the game for us. I would have been more effective had I been able to get an alliance with him, a cultural alliance. If I had been able to get a cultural alliance with him and negotiate lots of trade routes with him to give him a bunch of culture, that would have went a lot better. So how do I tell you what you did wrong here and what you should have done? Okay, so there's like so many things that went wrong that I'm going to try to just like pick out a few small things. Yes, these farms are really, really cool. However, they are not that good unless you have a aqueduct. And even then, You only want... So the way you want to think about food is you want to have enough food and housing to get the things you need to win. Food and housing aren't things you just keep getting more and more and more of unless you're specifically doing that just for like a laugh, or you're doing it like, or if there is some consequential reason. Like I might keep growing my capital in contrast to some other cities, because if I keep growing my capital, well then I can have more and more people, and then communism is more effective in giving me extra production from population and all that sort of stuff, right? Whereas if we look at over here, like this city doesn't need, like I eventually, I had planned to send more builders over here to clear this out, but I just never got around to it. But like a city like this doesn't need a surplus of 32 food per turn when it's maxed out on housing, right? It just doesn't need that much food. These could all actually have been like another, like maybe another 2 of these or 3 of them could have been mines, and you would have just ended up with a better city. Because it's not like the city was going to grow more unless you were like eating all these tiles with neighborhoods. And even then, what does that growth do for you? It doesn't really do a whole lot. So the big mistake you made going for the diplomatic victory is there are 3 core districts when you're going for a diplomatic victory. Okay, the campus, the industrial zone, and the theater square. You need all 3 of those. You can replace the theater square with a holy site if you get the thing that gives you culture from holy site buildings. That's an option. You also want lots of trade routes if you can get them. Also, your diplomacy in this game was like really awful. I don't know how you ended up in a betrayal war with 7 people at war with you, or was it 6? I can't remember. It was way too many people at war with you. In fact, if Germany had been at war with us as well, we would have just straight up lost the game. So you're very fortunate that Germany was not at war with you. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a lot of fun to throw down a whole bunch of these farms when you're playing Inca, but diplomacy victories are very, very specific. Like, I don't even think you got the wonders that you need for a diplomacy victory, did you? You never even researched Mahabodhi Temple and you went for a diplomatic victory. Are you off? Are you crazy? What were you doing this game? I'm at a loss for words. You should build the Mahabodhi Temple and the Statue of Liberty. That's +6 diplomatic victory points. You were on +12 when you handed the save over to me. You would have just needed 4 more. Oh my goodness. And the other reason why you need a really strong culture game, I didn't get to show it off this game, but there's a lot of really important diplomatic victory cards hidden in the tech tree over here. And there's also, I believe, where's the carbon recapture project? Yeah, this is it. You need the global warming mitigation civic so that you can do the carbon recapture project. And that's why you need industrial zones. These give you, they reduce your emissions by 50, and it also gives you 30 diplomatic favor. So this is a way that you can directly turn your production into diplomatic favor. So what you want to do is you want to get focused on tech, right? When you're going for a diplomatic victory, focus on tech early game. You want to push up towards industrial zones. You want to get your industrial zones, your campuses, and your either your commercial hub or your harbor for your trade routes. And you want to get it all the way up to industrialization. Once you hit industrialization, as long as you have a good source of coal, which you should if you've settled appropriately and you're like, or you can go for a war or whatever to secure that coal, then you transition, or you should already have some theater squares, but this is when you transition into going heavy onto culture, because now your objective is to get all the way up into the end of the culture tree. Now, in terms of your science, you should still keep pushing up for more and more science, because what you want to do is you want to get a spaceport, you want to do the launch Earth satellite, and the launch the moon landing, because the moon landing will give you a huge amount of culture from your science, which is a way to convert your science into culture, which will catapult you along to the climate accord civic that's all the way up here, which you can then start running an insane amount of those carbon recapture projects and essentially win by just having a ridiculous amount of diplomatic influence. Also, don't be afraid to kill someone in a diplomacy game. Every person that you kill is one less person trying to vote against you. So maybe kill 1 or 2 opponents, then you've got a really big empire. In fact, I would have made the argument that Germany was like a premium kill in this game. Like, Germany should have been, like, I don't know how you were militarily at some point, but Germany would have been like my tier 1 kill this game, because he already builds a whole ton of all the districts that you want, right? He's got Hansas, he's got theater squares, campuses. Germany builds all the infrastructure that you want when you're going for a diplomatic victory. So if you see Germany in your game, they're usually a tier 1 kill in my opinion. But yeah, that's basically it. This was a bit of a struggle of a game, and I know I didn't win the game that they had intended, but there was no way in hell they were winning diplomacy. There was no way in hell they were winning culture. There's no way in hell they were winning religion because they didn't have a religion, and there's no way in hell they were winning a domination because they had literally killed 0 of the civilizations on the map on turn 288. So the only way we could win was science, and we did in fact win with science. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.